This is a video that I've been really excited to do for so long. If you're a Genji main, or if you're interested in playing Genji, then you may want to know what characters work well when Genji plays against them, or what characters are counters to him. And here is where I come in. Basically, this is a tier list on every single character in Overwatch, every single one, and basically on how Genji deals when they are on the enemy team. This is all opinionated, this is all from my opinions and my opinions only, so if you guys disagree with anything or you agree with anything, then leave a comment down below because I'll make sure to read them all. And also, I am a plat 3 player, so I will have the opinions of a plat 3 player, so this is kind of based for me and my rank. I'm not talking about how Genji would deal against people in GM, because of course I haven't been in those ranks yet. However, you never know in the future. If I get into Grandmaster eventually, I will definitely make another tier list for that. However, this is all opinionated. If you guys disagree or agree with anything, comment down below, and let's get straight into the tier list. So basically, how I've split up this tier list is basically, it starts off with the bottom being my favorite, basically characters who I see and I'm licking my lips. Next up, an easy battle, something that's, you know, it'll be a little difficult if I've got all the cooldowns, but most of the time, you're not struggling much. Neutral, basically just, it's just a skill matchup, honestly. Next up, a hard battle, just a battle that'll be like kind of more difficult, almost more sided towards something that you're not really willing to take, but it'll not make you switch. Then next up, I'm running back to King's Row, basically a person who I see and I just do not want to face him. I'm kind of scared of him, so basically I'm staying away from them at all cost. Then finally, my worst nightmare, which I mean, I think you know what that means. Basically a character who I see and I want to switch. I do not want to play Genji against them, and playing Genji against them will be absolutely terrible. Now, starting up with every single tank, we're doing this in terms of tank, then DPS, then support, and at the end we'll make a whole combined tier list with all three roles, basically like kind of separates, because it's kind of harder to tier like tanks compared to DPSs. First off, D.Va, I'm gonna put a hard battle. The reason why I'm putting D.Va in hard battle is because I feel like she's very difficult to go up against. She can go against your dives a lot with her extended boosters, and she's kind of just hard to go up against. She's like a fat tracer, honestly. Next up, Domina. Now, I'm gonna be honest, where most of these tanks will just be put in neutral, just for the fact that tank is just, like, you don't really target tanks, so basically a lot of these will be put in neutral. Of course, I'll have slightly varying different opinions on them. However, most of the time, these tanks are just going to be neutral because Genji doesn't deal with tanks. The only tanks I'm saving are basically tanks that are like, you know, that are going to be genuinely like harder or easier to go up against. So stuff like Domina or Orisa or Ramatra, Reinhardt, Sigma, I'd probably say. Yeah, probably Sigma. Basically, tanks like this, and I'll put Wrecking Ball up there as well. Basically, these tanks are just, they're okay to go up against. Yes, a good version of these will be very hard to go up against, but this is all determined on basically all these characters are like just a decent version. So yeah, to be fair, I might move Wrecking Ball up just for the fact that Wrecking Ball can be very annoying at high level, but I don't see him too much, and also that I can just say the same with every single character. Like, if a good version of him I go up against, then of course it's going to be very difficult to go up against. This is just kind of determining that they're all on the same skill level, because, well, at that point, I could just put like, oh, that, like, for example, Doomfist is a really hard tank to go up against if they're one trick. I'm putting him in my worst nightmare. But for me, honestly, I'd put Doomfist in hard battle. Will I put it above D.Va? Yeah, I'm going to put it above D.Va just for the fact that I'd say Doomfist is harder to go up against because he can counter deflect with his punch and can jump a lot. Hazard is another hero who I was going to consider putting in neutral. However, I might put him in hard battle because for me, Hazard is just an OP character right now. So, of course, the meta is going to have an impact on a lot of these characters in the tier list. So, since Hazard's a really good character right now, I'm probably going to put him in hard battle just because since he's meta, it's just a lot harder to go up against. I mean, I could say the same for Kiriko, I could say the same for Tracer, I could say the same for Shion. A lot of the meta will have a play in where I put these characters on the tier list. Junker Queen was someone I'm considering to put thingy. I'm going to put a neutral just because not too difficult, but like it was kind of like a second thought because she is a little different because she's good up close, I'd say. Next up, Mauga. Now, Mauga's a hard one to tier because yes, he is difficult and you can't really go up against him on Genji. However, now hear me out here. Mauga has this override ability, basically his E ability that makes it so he gains overhealth. Now, Genji can deflect that, and that fully counters his finger, so I could put him easy battle for that. However, I think Mauga's still a very overpowered tank. I'd say he's the most meta tank in the games, but I'll put him bottom of neutral just because Genji's work better into a Mauga, because they can actually stop him, and also his movement abilities are limited. Now, next up, Roadhog. Roadhog is possibly running back to King's Row. You know what? He's the first one who's gone there. And the reason why I'm putting that is because he has a one-shot. And I know a lot of characters have one-shots, including Genji. Genji is the one-shot character. The thing is, his one-shot is so easy to hit. He can go so heavy against your finger. He's very good at peeling back. And he stops a lot of dive. However, since he hasn't got movement abilities, I'm putting him hard battle. I feel like I'm saving and running back to King's Row for like a special group of characters. For example, Winston. Do I put him in hard battle? Winston's difficult because he has a jump every 6 seconds where he can just jump on you and he can go through deflect. He can also just follow you, and if you have no dash to go get away from him, you can't really do much. Now, next up, do I put Zarya in my worst nightmare already? I'll put her in and running back to King's Row, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I feel like Zarya is very difficult, and I'm going to explain this because a lot of you may not be too familiar with Genji. I mean, to be fair, I'm only plat 3, so I can only say what my opinions on it are, but basically, the reason why I'm putting Zarya so high up is because she's got things that can go through his deflect, her beams, and also her bubbles can make it impossible for a Genji to dive. So she can like bubble through Dragon Blade, or when Genji's trying to dive for backline, and she can burst through deflect. The only thing that saves her is that she hasn't got much movement, but either way, she is a horrible. You know what? She goes into my worst nightmares. There's literally nothing you can do against her, and she's possibly the worst tank to go up, like the worst person for Genji to go up against. Now, moving on to DPS. Now, sit tight. Let's grab a drink. Maybe grab like a nice hot chocolate whilst I talk to you guys about why Anran players should kill themselves. Nah, just kidding. Just kidding. But Anran is the worst. Anran can just do this and then that and then that, and it goes through deflect. The deflect might as well just be a cosmetic item. I might as well be just sliding on Mauga, because what the f are you supposed to do when there's an Anran just waving her hands about, waving her fans, because you can't go up against her. She has 2 dashes, so she has 1 to get in, 1 to get out. Genji don't have that kind of ability like her. She has an E that makes her invincible, and also that makes it so you can't really attack her there. And it also sets you on fire, and by the time you're on fire, what do? Yes, you can dash out, but an Anran can just double dash and then you're just done. She is so bad to go up against, and whenever I see an Anran, I just think, yeah, I'm just gonna do an Anran mirror, because what are you meant to do against Genji? So she is going to the top of my worst nightmare, and rightfully so. And you may be thinking, oh, you didn't try enough to go up against her. Why haven't you searched up how to go up against an Anran? I went up on a Genji subreddit, basically seeing how Genji players at the highest level deal with Anran. You know what they said to me? They said, there's nothing you can do. I'm not kidding. They said you should just not try at all against her. You might as well just avoid her at all costs. When a Genji in GM tells you that, what am I meant to do? Okay, now, Anwan talk gone. Moving on next, I'm going to go to Ashe. Ashe is one of the more easier people to go up against. She has a coach gun that can send you flying back and puts you into mid-range where she kind of thrives best in. And also she has the fires that can also get you when you're kind of low. However, she is a hit scan, and up close you do have the favor of going against her. Yes, if she has cooldown, then she's hard to go up against, but for me, she's an easy battle. Yes, you could say a good Ashe is hard to go up against. You could say that any of these characters who are really good is difficult to go up against. Now, Bastion. Okay, maybe it's because I'm in Plat 3, but Bastion is my favorite character to go up against. All he does is go on his turret form, and then you just run up straight to him, wait for him to get your attention, and then just click deflect and just watch his health just disappear. And yes, there's some Bastions that are decent that can actually, you know, go up against that and not shoot. However, that gives him 2 seconds of his form wasted towards just not shooting at all and just having to like basically avoid me at all costs. And at that point, it gives the team enough time to like run away, or it gives them enough time to kill the Bastion. And also it wastes the Bastion's form, and at that point the Bastion can't really do too much, which basically makes him a very killable target since he hasn't got much movement abilities, which for that reason I'm definitely putting in my favourite. Next up, Cassidy. Now, hear me out, and you guys may agree with me, you may disagree. Comment down below if you guys disagree with this point. But Cassidy is one of the easiest characters for me to go up against, and you know what, I think I struggle more with going up against an Ashe than I do a Cassidy. And before you say, I'll explain my reasons why, because I don't want to just say, oh, this character's easy battle, this character's hard battle. I'm going to explain because I want you guys to understand why I'm putting these characters in these tiers. Basically, Cassidy works well from long range to mid range. Genji doesn't work well in those things, but he also works really well close range. He kind of counters most hits against Genji. That's where he works best against. Cassidy does have a stun, which is very hard once you do get hit by it. However, maybe it's because I'm a low rank, but most Cassidys just deflect the grenade into the head, and then all of a sudden you just have like a free kill. And also, it's a hard shot for them to hit, and in my opinion, I just think he's very easy, because minus that like flashbang, what does he actually have to go up against me? Yes, maybe a silver bullet's good, but also at the same time, it's also hard to hit, kind of similar to the flashbang. Now, Echo is very difficult because she's a flying character. I'm not getting it too much right now, but flying characters are just hard for Genji to go up against. I'll put her in hard battle alongside like Winston. However, I'm not comparing it much to like, you know, like actual tanks, because it's hard to compare DPSs to tanks. Emre, one of the most common hit scans in Platinum. I'm gonna put him in neutral, just because you see a lot of decent Emre's. Emre is probably one of the easier characters to like actually play as, and also he can hit decent shots, can get out when he's close range with his pistol. The grenade does high damage. Emre is overall a very, very solid hit scan, and I think I have more struggles with him than I do with Ashe and Cassidy, so I'll put him in neutral, I'd say. Now, I'm not really ordering anything here in neutral. I'll probably do it more with like at the hard battle, easy battle, my favorite, worst nightmare, running back to King's War tiers. However, neutral's harder to like kind of like rank everything, like all these, like I'm not comparing Jungle Queen to flipping Emre. It's difficult. Now, another thing about Echo is that Echo has 3 little drops, which basically make it so if they hit on you, you're basically sent all the way back into spawn room and you're basically done. And also on top of that, she can also use a beam that goes through deflect, so she is overall very difficult. Now, next up, Freya. Now, Freya does have an ability similar to Echo, where she has her like sticky arrows that does a lot of damage. However, I'm going to put her in neutral just because she is also a hit scan, and hit scans are just better for Genji. Now, next up, Genji. Now, Genji doesn't work in any of these tiers, so I think there's one tier that explains a Genji best against another Genji, which would be, give me a second, the 1v1 of Doom. Okay, I spelled that really badly, but let me explain myself here. When going up against a Genji, it's kind of difficult because it is, of course, mechanics-wise, just finger. I'm not going to put him in any of these tiers. I would put him neutral, but I think that's kind of boring. But basically, whatever team has the advantage, that Genji will win. Unless you've got like really good mechanics, which at that point, if you've got mechanics that good that you're steamrolling, even when the team has the advantage, then get the flip out of my rank and let me enjoy my Genji in peace. Next up, Genji's brother Hanzo. Now, if you've watched the cinematic where Genji destroys Hanzo with the Dragon Blade counter, let's just say it's kind of similar to that. I'm putting him in my favorite. Yes, he can hit a one shot, but the statistics of him hitting a one shot on me is very, very low, especially since I'm in lower ranks. So realistically, you're not really going to get one shot by him. He does do very high damage. However, you don't really worry too much about it. And although his one shot can be annoying to go up against, it's nothing that you should be like really too scared about. And he's so easy to just dive on and just instantly kill. Now, next up, Junkrat. Junkrat is such an annoying character to deal with. If a Junkrat is good, he can instantly kill you and send you from 250 health to 250 health. However, this time, instead of being in the fight, you're now stood inside the Oasis spawn room. So I'm going to put him in hard battle. You can deflect him, and he isn't the most difficult character to go up against. But for example, in maps like Lijiang Tower or King's War Third Point, in maps that have hallways, he's such a difficult character to really go up against. And since he works really good up close in those areas or indoors, it makes it so Genji has to play a lot more limited around him. So it is kind of more difficult to play against the Junkrat. And also, he can just spam grenades and then all of a sudden you just can't go down a certain area of the map because of it. Now, next up, Mei. Ooh, one of the biggest Genji counters of all time. Where do I put her? Now, she could honestly be the first person putting in I'm running back to King's Row. And I'll explain this for you guys why. Basically, Mei has the whole left click that does so much like damage. It slows you down, makes you lethargic, and then if she gets a perk, then you're gonna turn into a Drake album that not many people like. And also she has the little ice block that can make it hard to go up against if you're trying to attack her, and she does very high poke damage if she does land her shots. However, it is possible to deal with her, which is why I'm not going to put her in my worst nightmare, because she hasn't got the best movement abilities. You can outrange her most times. So I'm not going to put her into my worst nightmare because you can deal with her. So I'd probably put her there by herself, which she deserves. Which, you know what? I think Farah might join her actually, just because Farah is so difficult to go up against. Mei, you've got a friend in Farah at least. I'd say Farah's harder than Mei as well, so I'll put Farah above her. And I'm going to explain why flying characters are difficult now. Basically, Genji has a dash that goes 15 meters if you guys didn't know. And let's say there's an enemy that's 15 meters away on the floor and in the air, then you can dash them, right click melee. So what does that mean for why flying characters are more difficult than characters on the floor? Well, basically, being 15 meters away exactly makes it very, very difficult to do when you're trying to like track like how far you are away from him. Because 15 meters is a weird range to track. It's harder to do than like traces, blinks. But however, Genji's got a really good way of stopping that, which is basically instead of dashing just forwards in a straight line, you can kind of jump up in the air and then dash towards their feet if you're closer to them than the 15-meter range, which realistically you will be, which will make it so if you dash at their feet, you'll be put right next to them instead of like far away, where Genji can work his magic, because Genji works best up close. And for a flying character, you can't really dash at their feet. You kind of have to be 15 meters away. And if you dash too far away, then you're not close range anymore, which means that Pharah will probably have the advantage. With that as well, she is also difficult to deflect against, unless she's got a ultimate, but then again, even that's kind of hard to deflect because it's kind of hard to read that. Alright, ran over about Pharah and why flying characters are annoying. Next up, Reaper. Reaper's difficult because he does have a fade, he has a TP, he's overall like a pretty difficult DPS to go up against. Nothing impossible though. I'll put him in hard battle around like Echo, just because Reaper's got high health, does high damage from mid to close range, and also can kind of just like fade or TP out of a lot of your dives. And it's kind of a battle that Genji's mostly try to stray away from a Reaper. Yes, there's ways to stop him, like basically baiting out fade, and then once the fade's done, you can just kind of and then instantly kill him. But he is overall kind of difficult. Xion? Now, the new character Xion, is she a counter to Genji? I wouldn't say she's a direct counter, but she is very difficult. She works best mid to close range, so it's kind of difficult for Genji to get up close. She has like very good range, and her motorbike goes through your deflect, so overall she is really difficult to like actually face. Do I think she's running back to King's War level? No, I'm saying she's just above Reaper, and the reason why I'm putting her above Reaper is because she's just the more meta character right now, and of course metas do play in what Genji has to go up against. Now next up, Sierra. Easy battle, probably the easiest hit scan character to actually kill as Genji. Her right click is useless to deflect. She has a grapple that with 3 shurikens you can break, and then all of a sudden she's just kind of stood there by herself waiting for you to dive her. She is probably the easiest hit scan to kill, and if I see her, I'm more worried for my team than me myself, because she isn't too difficult to go up against. Sojourn, also a very easy hit scan to kill. She has slides that make it difficult to attack her, and also the orb that makes it hard. However, you're not going to have too much troubles against a Sojourn unless they're really good. Now for Soldier, he's kind of just like a normal hit scan. I don't think he's an easy battle. The reason why I'm going to say that is because he has a healing orb that makes it hard to go up against him, a right click that does half your damage, and also a sprint that makes it difficult to dive against. So I'd probably put him in neutral. I don't think he's an insanely hard battle, unless he's got like a Mercy E pocket, then I'm probably I'm running back to King's War. But that's the same for everyone, so screw you Soldier, you're going in neutral. Next up, Sombra. She's just more of a rat than anything. She's not hard to 1v1, but she can be very hard to deal with in chaotic situations. She can hack you, and then all of a sudden a lot of your abilities are just put to waste. You can't dash, you can't really deflect, and also she's hard for my supports to go up against. So I'm going to put her hard battle just because when I see her, I just can't really focus her. She's just one character I just can't focus. Now next up on the tier list is Symmetra. Now, Symmetra on paper as a character with, imagine that you have no abilities, she's pretty easy to go up against, because although she does have a beam that goes through deflect, you can also out damage her easily, and also she's kind of got like a nice easy hitbox with not high movement, which would make you think that she'd be an easy battle. Now, here's where her abilities make her a hard battle. Basically, she has 3 little turrets that can just easily wipe you down, and she also has a TP that could give a shield, which is why I'm going to put her running back to King's War. And you know what? I'll put Winston up as well, because I don't like how many characters are in hard battle and neutral right now. So I'm going to try balance this out a little bit. Now, next up with Torbjorn. I think Torbjorn is one of the more difficult characters to go up against. They have a turret that is just so annoying to go up against. Also, he can just have overheat that gives him so much more health, and he works really well up close, which is Genji's forte. So it makes him a harder battle to go up against. I'll put him above Junkrat. I'll put him above Junkrat just because deployables are just annoying to go up against. Next up with Tracer. Now, Tracer's a weird character because yes, you can one-shot combo her despite being difficult. However, I think she's one of the more difficult characters. You can't really target a Tracer. You can maybe mark her with the backline, but she generally could be running back to King's War. I'd probably just put her above Winston just because she has really good movement and she's probably one of the only characters in Overwatch who can beat Genji in a 1v1. Which is why I'd probably put her in back tier. Now, next up, Vendetta. Vendetta is similar to Tracer. I'm winning back to King's War because first off, she works really good close range, so Genji can't really do that against her. He kind of has to wait until she's low to go in against her and try 1v1 her, and realistically that just means that she'll have the advantage if you do both at full HP, unless you can outpoke her, which of course you can outpoke a Vendetta, but it's like at that point trying to poke out a Vendetta is just kind of like you're not gonna have fun, and her block can do so much to like stop you. You can't really do much damage against it. So I generally I'd put her below Tracer, but she is very difficult to go up against, but just because of how good she is close range. And next up with Venture. Well, Venture is a weird character. They work very well up close. They have a thing similar to Mei with an ice block where they can just go underground and they can regen health. I'll probably put them hard battle just because I don't think I'm running back to King's War with him. And you know what? I'll put Echo up as well just because fly characters are pretty difficult and I kind of want the tier list to be more... I want it to be more fleshed out, which, to be fair, with some of the characters in this tier list now, I think it'll be a lot more interesting to do because I think supports I have some cool things to say about. But yeah, next up with Widowmaker. I'll be honest, unless you're a Smurf going and boosting like lower ranked accounts, which is kind of common now, Widowmaker is usually an easy character to face. You just have to avoid her at the poke phase and at mid-range. And if you don't have a Widow that's doing like some insane one-shots and is just definitely not smurfing, then she is definitely my favorite character to go up against. I'd probably put Bastion and Hanzo below her though, because I kind of prefer facing those. Now, finally, moving on to supports, we are getting towards the latter part of this video. Now, starting off with Anna. She is a character that can live through so much. She can live with her E ability, a grenade that makes you have anti-heal and also gives her over health. And also she has sleep that can sleep your blade. But realistically, she's kind of an easy battle. Although she can be difficult to go up against, you'll see an Anno, and that is an easy type to go up against. Next up, Baptiste. Baptiste is pretty difficult to go up against. He has invincibility things, which makes him invincible. And basically, he has this thing that gives him health. He's very difficult to kill, and he'll make it so your dives are harder to do. Hard battle for me, definitely. Brig, similar. Also a hard battle. I generally may put her up so I'm running back to King's War. Yeah, just because her shield can do so much. Kind of similar to Vendetta's block. And she's just really good for anti-dive. Alara, neutral. She can do a decent damage. But also at the same time, like, she's not something that will be like a hard battle. It's more just like skill. If she can hit her shots, then she can kill me. Now, next up with Jetpack Cat. Okay, remember how I was talking about I made a tier list before this and I put Jetpack Cat in my worst nightmare? The reason why I didn't upload that video and decided to re-record it is because I think Jetpack Cat is nowhere near my worst nightmare. Yes, you can't really target a Jetpack Cat because it can fly. You can't really target it at all. However, it can't really do much to you. It has to like come up close to actually attack you, which, I mean, at that point, it's kind of more favored towards you. So I'll put it in hard battle just for the fact that you can't target it. Next up, Juno. Juno has very good movement abilities. She can like have speed boost. She can jump up in the air and fly. Have a right click that can lock onto you. Overall, though, I wouldn't say she's an insanely hard battle. I'd say she's just kind of neutral. More of a skull matchup than anything. Kiriko, you know what? Putting her running back to King's Row, she can two-shot you, and she can TP out, she can Suzu herself, which makes it very difficult to dive. And also, one thing I'm going to bring on to this whole point is that Kiriko is difficult not just because it's hard to go up against her, but also because she makes other characters that I'm diving harder to dive because, for example, if I see a soldier trying to like shoot us from like an angle, I can't just instantly dash in and try kill him because the Kiriko could Suzu and TP, and then all of a sudden I'm kind of the one in danger at that point, and she kind of boosts other characters a lot, which is kind of difficult to go up against. Moving on to Lifeweaver, I think Lifeweaver's neutral. Kind of similar to Kiri, that Lifeweaver can help other teammates out with like grasping the name, but nothing too bad. Decent with poke, but up close you kind of beat Lifeweaver. Lucio, I'm gonna put him hard battle just because he's similar to Jetpack Cat in the fact that you can't really target a Lucio. However, what can a Lucio really do to you? Because Lucio works best up close and Genji is better up close than Lucio. Mercer, my worst nightmare. Okay, just kidding. I'll probably put Mercy, I'll be honest, guys and girls, and wherever you guys identify as. I'm going to put Mercy on hard battle just because, similar to Lucio on Jetpack Cat, where it's hard to attack her because she can fly and she's very skinny. However, she can't really do much to you. But the reason why I'm putting in hard battle instead of anywhere below that is because she can, kind of similar to Kiriko, boost other people on her team to make it harder for me to kill them. So like she can help boost other people. For example, if a Mercy and Farah team up together, then I am not running back to King's Row, I am running back to Marble Rivals. Now Mizuki up next. He's pretty difficult. He is anti-dive, he can chain you, he does high damage, he has an E that gets him out and gives him speed boost. Don't think he's insane, but I'll put him hard battle just because he's harder to dive. So yeah, I think he does deserve a spot of hard battle. Now, this is the one that I feel like most people will want me to talk about. Moira is something that Genji players despise. And if you guys don't know why Genji players despise a Moira, let me explain it to you. Basically, she has a fade, which is kind of similar to Genji's dash. However, her fade makes her invincible. So basically, if a Genji's trying to dash in on a team, Moira can fade in on him. And if Genji tries to dash out because he's low HP, then Moira can also fade in on him. And she also has an orb that does 250 damage, so it can just instantly kill him if he's in a room alone with it. And also, she has an attack that goes through his deflect, which is just... I mean, like, what can you do at that point? You can't really 1v1 a Moira, which is why I'll probably put her running back to King's Row. Actually, you know what? There's so many characters that I'm running back to King's Row. I may... You know what? I'm putting her in my worst nightmare. And the reason why I'm going to say this is not because of the points I just said, but I think Moira deserves to be my worst nightmare because in Platinum, I think an okay Moira... with an okay team can be insane to go up against because Moira is such a good character to get very high heals and very high damage. Like if I see a decent Moira on the enemy team, I see her with the most healing by a mile out of anyone else, with also damage that compares to the DPSs, with kills that rivals the tanks. So I'd say Moira's more difficult just because of how good of a character she is in lower ranks, especially after her buffs. Her buffs have made her a lot more difficult to go up against. Now, moving off of Moira, I would probably put Wu Yang around Juno tier. He's kind of similar in the terms that he's got really amazing movement. He is kind of hard to dive when he has those movement abilities. However, he's kind of easy to go up against, so I'll put him neutral with Juno. I said Juno's harder, but I don't want to tier up neutrals in like order. Now, finally, Zenyatta. I'm sorry, I'm putting my boy Zenyatta in my favorite. He's easy to go up against. He's got such a big fat hitbox. You can basically just right click that and you're instantly hitting 3 shots. Yes, he does have an ultimate that counters Dragon Blade. However, he's just too easy to go up against, I'll be honest. And that is the tier list. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed this tier list. If there's anything you guys disagree with on this tier list, or anything you agree with or disagree with, then leave a comment down below. I'll definitely read them. And hey, maybe I'll make an updated one when the new season comes out. But this is my personal tier list. This is all my opinions, so if you guys disagree with anything or think I'm being stupid, this is just my personal opinion. And like I said earlier, I am going to make a separate tier for tank, DPS and support, which I'll show on screen right now, so you guys can kind of see where I've ranked the tanks and the supports and the DPSs. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. I know this has been like kind of a longer video, however it's something that I've been wanting to make a video on. Hopefully you guys have all enjoyed this kind of tier list video. I'm definitely going to make more tier lists like this. So yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this tier list. I'm going to make some more in the future, and leave some comments down below if you guys want to see anything more, or if you've got any suggestions for videos that you want me to make. And if you like Overwatch content, then feel free to watch me some more. I'm currently in Plat 3 right now in DPS. I'm trying to make my way to Grandmaster. And maybe I'll try to move to 6v6 because apparently that's a better game mode. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. I definitely have making it. And I'll see you guys soon. I have been aliiumm, and goodbye.